last week we discussed some point about the contemplation of three characteristics. So, regarding the contemplation of three characteristics, we can understand that point according to the instructions given by the commentary and sub-commentary like this. So actually this message is given by the media sutta. So that sutta is mentioned in the Tika. So Atthakanipada Tika. So we can understand how to contemplate, whether we should contemplate the three characteristics in order or not. So we can understand like that. Some people, sometimes they understand that we need to contemplate the three characteristics in order, such as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Actually, so it is not like that. So we can understand like this. Here, anicca lakkhana date, anatta lakkhana data. It means, so when anicca lakkhana is manifest or clear in our mind, or if we realize anicca lakkhana very clearly, so anatta lakkhana can be easily realized or understood. So that is the one message. And then, so here, tisu lakkhanesu hi ikasame date itara vaya data miwa. It means when one of the three characteristics manifest, or when one of the three characteristics are realized by us, so we can easily understand or realize the remaining two characteristics easily and very clearly. We don't need to contemplate one by one. So because if one of the three characteristics clearly understood in our mind, so the remaining two characteristics can be understood by us. So in our mind, so we can easily understand, or we need to understand how to contemplate three characteristics according to these instructions. So these are all about how to contemplate the three characteristics, or whether we need to contemplate the three characteristics in order or not. So these are message for that question. So we can understand like that. And then, so next week, so we will finish our class. So next week. Not this week. Next week. So what about the other teacher? So he is so busy. That is why. So and then we need to understand, so regarding the three characteristics, so we need to understand, so this point as well. So three characteristics and time or period. So there are two types of times according to the teachings of the Buddha. So Bahira Sasana, inside the teachings of the Buddha. Bahira Sasana, outside the teachings of the Buddha. Ijatika Sasana. So inside the teaching of the Buddha, Sasana bin, Sasana ba. Most of the Myanmar people, they say like that. So in this case as well, so we need to understand the characteristics and the teachings of the Buddha Sasana. So inside the teaching of the Buddha, or outside the teachings of the Buddha. So we can understand like that. So when it comes to the three characteristics and the Buddha's teaching, so the following question that we can ask. So do you think that the three characteristics can be contemplated clearly, not only outside the teachings of the Buddha, but also inside the teachings of the Buddha? So regarding that point, the commentator, so especially the commentator, we bring that commentator that mentioned like this. So can anyone realize all three characteristics, whether the Buddha appears in the world or not? Here, so we bring Athakata, so we can understand like that. So according to the above statement, so we can understand, so three characteristics cannot be contemplated, not only inside the teachings of the Buddha, but also outside the teachings of the Buddha. So some corridor state can be practiced or can be contemplated in both times. So outside the teaching of the Buddha and inside the teaching of the Buddha. But so one of them cannot be contemplated outside the teachings of the Buddha. The corridor state is another lakkhana. So we can understand like that. So regarding the time and a period, what we need to understand is that so anicca lakkhana and dukkha lakkhana can be practiced or contemplated, not only inside the teachings of the Buddha, but also outside the teachings of the Buddha. But anatta lakkhana cannot be contemplated or practiced or developed outside the teachings of the Buddha. It can be contemplated only inside the teachings of the Buddha. So according to this commentary, according to the message given by this commentary, here he continued to say like this: great and powerful teachers, great and powerful teachers such as ascetics, Prabhajaka, and Sarabanga. So they can preach all about anicca and dukkha. So they can also preach anicca and dukkha to anyone. So but they cannot teach another. So they cannot realize everything about the another. Why? Because they themselves cannot remove the view of Sattva deity, especially Sakaya deity. So they cannot remove. So in other words, to make other news to another lakkhana is not relevant to the person, but the enlightenment. Only the enlightened one can preach the another lakkhana. So no one apart from the Buddha cannot teach the another lakkhana. So we can understand like that according to the explanations given by this commentary. So regarding the teacher, so we can understand anicca and dukkha can be taught by anyone. But another lakkhana cannot be taught anyone apart from the Buddha. So the Buddha, only the Buddha can teach everything about the another lakkhana. So we can understand like that according to this message. These are the lakkhana, the characteristics and teachers and prayers inside the teachings of the Buddha and outside the teachings of the Buddha. So based on the above statements, so we can conclude that like this. So anicca lakkhana and dukkha lakkhana belong to everyone, or it means anicca lakkhana and dukkha lakkhana can be taught by anyone, or these two characteristics are common to everyone. But another lakkhana does not belong to anyone apart from the Buddha. It belongs to the enlightened one, Sambuddha. Only Sambuddha can teach and can realize everything about the another lakkhana. So we can understand like this according to this message given by the Buddha Athagata.
Two commentary, they are a little bit contrasting.
Yes.
So the first commentary, according to Vigya Sutta, one anicca manifest, another also, right?
Yes.
Here.
So
Yeah, this one is anicca dukkha, right? Can be contemplated even outside the teaching. So one is
so
a little bit
I also add that question to the Vipassana teacher, he didn't say anything about it. So I also want to know the answer to that question. So according to here, so these two statements are opposite to each other. Opposite.
It's not.
So what do you think about that?
It's not from the Vipassana point of view. It's like anicca. It's not connected with the mind and matter.
Yes.
It's not connected with the Vipassana. Even they are contemplated. They can be contemplated outside.
Yes. There is also one point to this question. So when I read these two statements together at the time, I also did the opposite point. So according to the first statement, so if we understand one of the three characteristics, we don't need to practice another two characteristics. But in this case, so another lakkhana can be practiced inside the teaching of the Buddha. So these statements are opposite to each other. So we can understand like that. So I also find out the answer to that question, but I didn't see anything in the teachings of the Buddha. So Sociology said that, so outside the teachings of the Buddha, some teachers, great teachers, they can understand anicca and dukkha, but they cannot understand real nature of the anatta. So he said like that. They understand, they cannot understand the real nature of the anatta. So they can have, how to say it, superficial knowledge of the anatta. So they said, he said like that. So I also confused with these two statements. So here, so anicca lakkhana and dukkha lakkhana belong to everyone. So according to this message, so dukkha lakkhana is common to or unique to the enlightened one. So here and then, so why? So another question, so regarding the three lakkhanas. Why do we not penetrate or realize three characteristics through our knowledge? And then the question is the same. Why three characteristics are not manifest to all of us in our mental process? So sometimes, so we cannot see the true nature of the anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Why? So we are seeing the evidence, whether animate or inanimate, in our daily life, but we cannot see the nature of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So why? So here the commentator given the some reason. So anicca lakkhana udaya bayanyana. So udaya bayana amanasikara apati veda sandatiya patichana dana upatati. So it means, so anicca lakkhana is not manifested to all of us because we do not pay attention to the horizon and passing. The horizon and passing. So udaya bayanyana amanasi karan. If we do not pay attention to the horizon and appear, the horizon and passing, the horizon and falling about the mind and matter, we cannot see the nature of anicca. So that is also one reason. And then another reason is here, because we do not penetrate the nature of appearing and disappearing through our knowledge. Udaya bayanyana abadi veda. So we do not understand the horizon and falling through our knowledge. So that is why we cannot see the true nature of the anicca. So and then another one here, because the anicca lakkhana is covered or hidden by the mental process and material process, which are so swift, so like the stream of the river. So actually, so the rising and falling of our mind and matter is like the stream of the river, that we cannot see the rising and falling continuously. That is why, so we cannot see, we cannot penetrate the true nature of mind and matter. So that is the how many reasons? Three reasons. So because of these three reasons, we cannot see the true nature of the anicca. So the first one is we cannot see the rising and falling mind and matter through our knowledge. So and then another one is we do not pay attention to the rising and falling. So the second one, the third one is because anicca lakkhana is covered or hidden by the mental process and material process, which are so swift like the stream of the river. So our mental process is very swift or very quick. That is why we cannot see the horizon and the true nature of the anicca. So we can understand like that. So these are the reasons why we do not penetrate the nature of the anicca. So what about dukkha? So in this case, dukkha, regarding the dukkha, the commentator mentioned the three reasons. Here, avina, sambandhi, pilanasa, amanasikara, apatibhuda, iriyapatehi, patichannada, na upatadi. So dukkha lakkhana is not manifest in our mind because we are constantly overwhelmed by the apparition or impact of rising and falling. We do not pay attention to the weight of being overwhelmed constantly by the application or the effect of rising and falling. Abena, Sambati, Pidanasa, Manasikara. So because of that reasons, we do not realize or we do not see the true nature of the dukkha. So another reason here, because we do not penetrate through the knowledge, the weight of being overwhelmed constantly by the impact of rising and falling. Abena, Sambati, Pidanasa. So the other reason is dukkha lakkhana is covered or hidden by four kinds of iriya pathas. For example, if you sit here for a long time, at the time that your body is not compatible, then we can change our posture in order to make our body compatible. So at the time, dukkha disappear. Dukkha disappear. We can change our body posture. That is why that we cannot see the true nature of the dukkha. That is the one example. Very clear example for us to understand the true nature of the dukkha. So and then these are the reasons why we do not penetrate dukkha lakkhana. So another lakkhana. Why we do not penetrate the true nature of the another lakkhana. So here another lakkhana is also the manifest or clear to all of us in our mind, because we do not pay attention to the exposition for different elements. Nana, Dhatu, Vinibhogasa, Amanasi, Kara. So if we do not penetrate the analysis of elements, we cannot see the true nature of another. So our body is composed of how many elements? According to Abhidhamma, we can say 18. According to this discourses, we can say 5 elements. Prithvi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, and Akasa. So our body is composed of 5 elements. According to Abhidhamma, 80 kinds of elements. So we can understand like that. We cannot, if we do not understand, so if we do not analyze our body based on the exposition of the dhatu, we cannot see the true nature of the another. So that is also one reason. So another reason, the second reason is that, so we do not, because we do not penetrate through our knowledge the exposition of different elements. Nana dhatu, Vinibhogasa, Abadi Veda. So if we do not understand through our knowledge the different elements, so we cannot see the nature of the another. So and then another one here. So the third reason is that because another lakkhana is covered or hidden by gana, which means relating together, so that it is considered as the same things. Ganena patichanata. So because of this one, because of this reason, we cannot penetrate or we cannot understand the true nature of another. As soon as we understand and realize, as soon as we note and analyze the true nature of anicca, dukkha, and another, we cannot be called an ordinary person. So such a person can be called one of the noble persons. So in this case, he needs to be endowed with. So endowed with the realization about anicca, dukkha, and anatta according to theory and practice or experience. At the time, he can be called noble person. So we can understand like that. So these are the reason why we do not penetrate the 3 characteristics. So we can understand like that. So here, among these 3 characteristics, one of the reasons is included manasikara. Manasikara is associated with the 3 characteristics. If we do not pay attention, 3 characteristics with our right knowledge, we cannot understand the true nature of 3 characteristics. So that is also interesting. That's why it's also interesting for us in order to understand the 3 characteristics. And then that is also main point. Main point of this discourse. How the Buddha teaches his disciples. In this case, disciple, according to this another lakkhana sutta, disciple refers to the group of 5 months. Panjavaggiya. Panjavaggiya. So how that the Buddha teaches his disciples how to contemplate another lakkhana sutta. So when we approach this another lakkhana sutta, we need to emphasize so 4 steps. We need to focus mainly on 4 steps. The first one is here I mentioned the Buddha's attitude towards the 5 aggregates. So when you read so the first title that you can easily understand the Buddha's attitude towards the 5 aggregates. How the Buddha considered the 5 aggregates according to this discourse. Here, so the Buddha mentioned here, so paragraph number 3, the bhikkhu, the form is not self. So for if found where self, this found will not bring about illness, and it will be possible to tell the form, let my form be set, and let my form not be set. So according to this message, we can understand the Buddha usually consider the 5 aggregate as the not self, another. He never considered the 5 aggregate as the self atta. He usually consider or mentions the 5 aggregates are not self, another. So we can understand like that. So these paragraph number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So these paragraph refers to the Buddha's attitude towards the 5 aggregates. So we can understand like that. So regarding the Buddha teachings about the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, first of all we need to understand this step. The Buddha usually consider the 5 aggregates as anatta, not self. This is the Buddha's attitude towards the 5 aggregates. So the topic is related to this paragraph 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So these paragraphs are related to the first topic. So by now reading this topic, you can easily understand the Buddha's attitude toward the 5 aggregates. Okay, let's go to the second step. So let's go to the another page number, paragraph number 12. So in order to understand the second steps of the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, so we need to see or look at the paragraph number 12. So regarding this paragraph, we can understand like this. So the Buddha explained the concept of anatta based on another 2 characteristics. So because anatta lakkhana is very difficult to penetrate or understand for the ordinary persons. That is why whenever the Buddha explains the nature of anatta lakkhana, first of all he usually show the nature of another 2 characteristics such as anicca and dukkha. After explaining everything about the nature of anicca and dukkha, the Buddha usually show the nature or the concept of the anatta. So that is also explanation of the concept of anatta based on that. So this paragraph mentioned how the Buddha explained. The Buddha explained the concept of anatta based on other 2 characteristics. We can understand like that. So by now reading this paragraph, we can understand that point clearly. So that is why we need to read paragraph number 12 to 16. 12 to 16. So in order to understand how the Buddha explained the concept of anatta based on other 2 characteristics or based on the nature of other 2 characteristics, namely anicca and dukkha. So by now reading this paragraph, we can understand that point. How to explain the nature of anatta lakkhana based on the nature of other 2 characteristics. That is why we need to read these paragraphs in order to understand the Buddha message about the explanation of the concept of anatta based on the nature of other 2 characteristics. So I want you to read. So without reading this paragraph, you have nothing to write down in your exam. No? That is why at least we need to read 2 times. No? So these were a very short discourse, no? Very short discourse. So I want you to read this paragraph in order to understand the second step. The second step is very clear and very easy for us to understand. So and then let's go to the third steps. What about the third step? So the third step, so here the Buddha explained of how the 5 aggregates should be seen in our daily life in order to change Attavada to Ananda Vada. How should we see the 5 aggregates in our daily life in order to change Attavada to Ananda Vada? So regarding that point, we need to look at some paragraph. Paragraph number 17 to 21. So in order to understand how we should the 5 aggregates see in our daily life in order to change Attavada to Ananda Vada. So the Buddha mentioned here, so paragraph number 17 here, the Buddha mentions. So therefore, any kind of fault or whatever, whether past, present or future, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, all material phenomena should be seen as they really are with the right wisdom that this is not my nita mama. This I am not, this nisoha masami. This is not mindset, niso me ada. So we have to see the 5 aggregate as they really are in this way. This is not mind body. This body is not mine. This is not a mindset. We have to see like that together with the right wisdom, Yatha Buddha Jnana. So in this case, so the nature of the Yatha Buddha Jnana, regarding the nature of the Yatha Buddha Jnana, so it is very easy for us to understand the nature of Yatha Buddha Jnana, but it is so difficult to apply the nature of Yatha Buddha Jnana in our daily life. For example, so one person is very tall, like in Jaret. Do you know Jaret? Jaret. Jaret. So like in Jaret. So for example, a person is very tall. So at the time if you see such a person, you are very tall like a Jaret. At the time, do you think that so he like your words or not? So most of the people they do not like seeing them as they really are. For example, another one. So another person has black skin. So one day your skin is like a chocolate. At the time that he does not like seeing them like this. That is why the nature of Yatha Buddha Jnana, seeing them as they really are, is very easy for us to understand. But it is so difficult. Most of the people don't like reality or realism. Most of the people do not like seeing them as they really are. So that is why most of the people are ordinary, including us. So different seeing. So different seeings leads to different results. That is why in order, if we want to be special, so we need to change our way of seeing. So without changing our way of seeing, we must be always ordinary, not special. So here, so the way of a newer person, the way of seeing used by the newer person are very different from us. Therefore, they are newer persons. That is why if we want to change our life, we need to change our way of seeing. We need to change our attitude, or we need to change our perspective. So in this case as well, so way of the seeing the 5 aggregate is very different from other religions. So the Buddha mentioned here, most of the religions, so they usually see the five aggregates as they are, not like the Buddha. They usually consider the five aggregates as atta, but in this case the Buddha see or consider the five aggregates as another. That is the differences of perspective regarding the five aggregates. That is why the Buddha is special among the other religious teachers. So in this case as well, we can get one lesson. If we want to be special, so our thinking or our idea must be different from others. At the time, you can be special or you can be crazy. That is why, so that is also one message. So very interesting and very useful for us. So the third step mentions explanation of how the five aggregates should be seen as they really are, according to the teachings of the Buddha, especially according to the instruction mentioned in this another lakkhana sutta. So if we see the five aggregates as they really are with our right wisdom, what kind of benefit can we get in our daily life? So the Buddha mentioned, so the last step here, the benefits of seeing the five aggregates in accordance with his instruction. So the first one is here. So later, so we can see it here. So paragraph number 22. Paragraph number 22. In order to understand the benefits of seeing the five aggregates as they really are with our right wisdom, we can get these benefits. So paragraph number 22. So we can find out the answer to that question, especially what are the benefits of seeing the five aggregates as they really are. The first one is, if we see the five aggregates as they really are with the right wisdom, nibbana jnana. So what is discussed? We become discussed about the five aggregates, nibbana. So that discussion leads to the dispassion, raga. So that dispassion leads to the liberation, vimukti. So this liberation leads to the nibbana. So at the time our life is very peaceful. So we can understand like that step by step. So according to paragraph number 12. So here that we can see nibbana, viraga, and then so nibbana, viraga, vimukti jnana, dasana. So we can understand like that there will be 4 steps. So nibbana, viraga, so vimukti and nibbana, or peace of mind. So we can get these 4 benefits when we contemplate the five aggregates as they really are. So these are the message of this another lakkhana sutta. That is why, so when we approach or when we learn this another lakkhana sutta, so we need to emphasize or we need to focus mainly on 4 steps. So here, these 4 steps are here. The first one, so by now reading some paragraph, we can understand the Buddha's attitude towards the five aggregate. And then, so according to the second step, we can understand the Buddha's explanation of the concept of anatta based on the nature of other 2 characteristics. So the third step is that we can understand like this. So we can understand how we should contemplate the five aggregates as they really are with our wisdom, not we are. We have to see the five aggregates and not we are as they really are. We have to see or contemplate like that. So in the end, we can understand when we contemplate the five aggregates as they really are, so we can get some benefits. So nibbana, viraga, vimukti jnana, dasana. So we can understand like that. If we see the five aggregates, nibbana, so we can discuss about the five aggregates. So that discussion nibbana leads to dispassion, viraga. So that viraga dispassion leads to liberation. That liberation leads to the knowledge of leads to the liberated knowledge. Vimukti jnana, dasana. So we can understand like this. So these are main points of anatta, lakkhana, sutta. Here, the Buddha teaches the disciple how to contemplate anatta, lakkhana, sutta. So in the following 3 ways, so we can understand like that. Sometimes the Buddha explains the nature of the anatta, lakkhanas like that. Here, the concept of no self is demonstrated. Sometimes based on the impermanence, according to Chachaka Sutta. So sometimes the Buddha explained, so in order to understand the nature of anatta, the Buddha never directly explained the nature of the anatta. First of all, he usually explains the nature of the nature according to Chachaka Sutta. After that, he continued to explain the nature of the anatta. So that is also one point. And then, so sometimes it is the concept of anatta demonstrated based on suffering according to anatta, lakkhana, sutta. Sometimes the concept of anatta, lakkhana demonstrated based on the both impermanence and suffering according to the Arahata Sutta. So in this case, so according to different discourse, the way of explaining this can be different in order to understand the nature of anatta. So the way of using the method is different according to the because of different discourse. So we can understand like that. And then why did the Buddha demonstrate the fact of no self based on the other 2 characteristics? Here we can understand because impermanence and sufferings are manifest or easy to understand for us, but anatta, lakkhana is not easy for us to understand directly. That is why before he explained the nature of anatta, lakkhana, he usually explained nature, lakkhana and dukkha, lakkhana, because these 2 lakkhana are very easy for us to understand. We can understand like that. Here I mentioned the Mijima Mula Banasa Atagata, follow to page number 19 and 20. So here I mentioned like this. So based on the above mentioned in this discourse, we can draw the conclusion like this. The Buddha teaches the disciple that there is no soul in the world. So there is no atta, there is anatta in the world. So we can understand like that. In other words, the Buddha explained to his disciple why there is no soul in the world based on this anatta, lakkhana. The Buddha explained the reason why there is no soul. So he explained that point based on this anatta, lakkhana, sutta. So we can understand like that. So here another point. So we are composed of only 5 aggregates, and none of these 5 aggregates can come under our control. They are not self. So we can understand like that. So here, regarding the 5 aggregate, we need to understand like this. 3 kinds of gaha. So clinging to something or someone with a craving. So this is the tanna. And then another one is clinging to something or someone with a conceit, mana. So another one is sometimes we can cling to something or someone with our view, especially in this case, wrong view. These are called papanja, dhamma, papanja, vigrata, baja. Most of the ordinary, as the ordinary person, we are moving around in the samsara together with the 3 kinds of dhamma, tanna, mana, and deity. So